Hello and welcome back to Coin Matters channel. In my opinion, the Hinman documents surpassed our highest expectations. A lot of people, I think, are disappointed because they were anticipating criminal activity on the part of Hinman. First of all, no one is that dim-witted as to include nonsense like that in official government communications. Not only that, but that isn't why we're here in the first place. That may be saved for another hearing. Alluding to this, the lack of regulation and the fact that it is not a security. And I consider this paper to be of paramount significance. First and foremost, we observe in this text an admission by the SEC that there is a regulatory gap over which they do not like you to be informed and maybe do not have jurisdiction. It seems to bring out what could be deemed a regulatory gap in this field because tokens on a sufficiently decentralized network are no longer securities and are therefore no longer necessary to register with all the benefits to investors of registration. This talk basically admits that there's something outside securities that isn't controlled by anyone, at least not in the way that Howey defines control. However, consumer protection laws may be necessary, as they are for a variety of other things. I've been suggesting from the beginning that it's possible the law doesn't apply to digital possessions. That will most likely alter in the future. People are interested in registering and reporting, but the SEC probably does not have the jurisdiction to do so at this time because these are not securities. The SEC is warning Hinman not to broadcast this information. You're basically saying out loud what we'd rather they didn't know. That's too much for a judge to unread. She will learn that the SEC is trying to hide the fact that its agents privately acknowledged that it may not control this area. Do not be fooled. We face a formidable foe in the United States regulatory establishment whose intentions are never questioned. It's not easy to outsmart a regulator, but this sort of thing will succeed where others have failed because the regulators themselves have admitted that they are not securities. The judge isn't stretching the law to make an exception. Legally, at least in their view, the SEC is the primary regulator, and they agree that it exists. They likely won't be able to control this type of asset. And if you want to alter it, it's best to bother lawmakers rather than business owners and investors. That information alone could have prevented 1,000 crimes by the Hinman family. This is a rather lengthy piece of writing. And the SEC agrees with Hinman that his made-up tests fall outside the Howey tests range. Giving them these tests when it has no legal foundation only adds to the chaos he's already causing. As a result, you witness this massive crowding. In case someone wasn't aware, we operate with no central authority. We're useful enough that it doesn't matter much. They can say that Citizen Hinman was just expressing his own view, but the SEC published his speech exactly as he gave it, claiming that they do not consider Ethereum to be a security. It was obviously intended to reveal the SEC's internal deliberations. Not only that, but Chairman Clayton was directing traffic. Check out the video of that Hinman speech we provided as an example. That was the point, and it led to a lot of consternation. They caused a shift in the industry that, once again, was not supported by the law and offered them no safeguards. Just a waste of time and effort. So, if you're a judge and you have to hand down a sentence, are you going to be harsh and impose the utmost possible punishment? Or you may read that and conclude that everyone was simply confused. And the explanation for this is the SEC's own recommendations? You will, however, significantly mitigate the severity of the penalty. That, too, has the potential to be quite effective. The SEC then moves on to say that coins with practical or consumer use are not securities. And they even cite the Supreme Court to back up their claim. The buyer of the currency to send the money then sells it on the opposite side, as in the case of HODL, when there is no investor present. Possible retention time, 3 seconds. No incentive to put money in is present. That might have huge implications for Ripple's ongoing business, the crux of this dispute. That which has been paid for in the past. However, they must safeguard the future. What really stood out to me, though, was the SEC statement that, this speech is going to make it hard for us to circle back to Ethereum, which amounted to them indicating that they aren't sure whether or not Ethereum is a security. What's more, the agency isn't even sure if the one coin they highlight is compliant, which is a major problem. They genuinely make stuff up on a daily basis. It will be difficult to argue that the regulations aren't fair. Extremely concise when the SEC is uncertain. The main altcoin they referenced in their presentation isn't even the number 2 crypto in the world, so they can't even claim that it serves as an example. They have no idea if that will pass muster with the authorities. They are completely clueless. The consensus was unanimous. It's a pile of nothingness. You're really simply repeating someone else's meaningless words. Really, this matters a lot. Since the SEC is confused, uncertain, and failing to provide adequate direction, this impacts not only fair notice. Additionally, a simple victory. The judge's discretion to rule that this is not a securities transaction will be practically assured by this. It's not even her bold move. The SEC is making a move out on its own limb. They claimed that we might not have any legal standing due to regulatory loopholes. All indications are that she should give this to Ripple. Can the success of Ripple be assured by this paper? In no way, shape, or form. That's besides the point, though. It's another win in a long string. Gives the judge a clear picture on which to base her decision. We have never sought any sort of favoritism. Just tell us the rules, please. And that is just what this judge will grant us. We couldn't have asked for greater XRP-related and regulatory clarification in Ripple's case against the SEC. All of our needs have been met and then some. The criminal Hinman. I don't understand his motivation. That's a different problem. This is not the time or place to discuss who should look into it, though. Now, nothing remains to be done except wait for summary judgment, at which point everything will be finalized. The only thing left to do is wait for it to happen. And I anticipate that happening rather quickly. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. Please, for the love of God, subscribe. See you later, bye.